Oh my gosh, I feel so overwhelmed. How many things are going on right now in my mind, on my calendar? It's like a tornado of things. Have you ever felt that way? I don't know what the feeling is, physical or mental, but have you ever just felt so overwhelmed? I have. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're like, yes, Jamie, of course I felt overwhelmed. But I think the big question is, how do you deal with it? Welcome to the Confident Jamie channel, where clarity meets confidence. I'm going to give you some super practical tips. Just to frame it in, if you've never met me before, I'm a mom of currently an 11-year-old, almost 12. I run a business. We have a hobby farm, so we have chickens, horses, dogs, cats. The majority of those animals right now are on meds, and we're in the middle of winter, and it is freeze your face off cold. And my kids in gymnastics and sports and tutoring and all this stuff. Each of us has our own list of why we're overwhelmed. It could be family drama. It could be mental issues, depression, seasonal depression. It's winter right now. It could be business. It could be, of course, money. We all know that's a huge overwhelm for most of us. It could be, I just don't know what to do next. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. Maybe you're married, maybe you're single. Maybe you go to church, maybe you don't. Frame it in for yourself of where you're at. The easy part is spewing out all of the things that are wrong. Like, this is what's stressful for me. I'm overwhelmed. I call it just a tornado of stuff comes, right? Literally think about a tornado where there's dust and stuff flying everywhere, and you're just like, where do I go for safety? How do you find a safe place for yourself? Really, mentally, for me also, I always speak about spiritually, where am I? And how do I get a handle on the overwhelm in a practical way? So I will talk about practical, but I will also share some things for me as it relates to spiritual and kind of mental clarity. I have some notes because I don't want to forget anything today, because I think this overwhelm is something everyone has. Like, I've not ever run into someone who's like, oh yeah, I have nothing to do today. I have all this time and I have all this money and I have zero to be concerned about, worried about, or overwhelmed about. Find out where you are, and here are some tips that I believe will really help you. Very simplistically from a practical perspective, because I think sometimes part of our overwhelm is we don't know what to do next, and we just don't know how to get a handle on it. So here's what you can do. Number one, here's what I do. I phone a friend. That is what I generally do. Now, that's not always the first thing I do, but generally I have one or two friends that are really great, that have known me a long time, that can help me frame in for that day where I'm at and really pinpoint what is the major source of that overwhelm. Sometimes it's as simple as there's 3 loads of laundry sitting out on the couch that need to be folded. And that is, for whatever reason, buzzing around in my head and making everything else feel overwhelming. I did that a few weeks before Christmas last year, and that's not really normal for me, but I was like, I cannot get out of my head. And so what did I do? Call a friend. She says, Jamie, in 2 days, I'm coming over. I'm going to help you put that thing together that's stressing you out, and I'm going to help you with your laundry. Those were literally the 2 stressors, but it was 2 weeks before Christmas, and I was like, we have so much to do. So those were the things. She came over, but I have a little bit of ADHD. So for me, knowing that she was coming over kicked me right into high gear. So that did something very practical for me. But since I knew she was coming, I was like, I gotta clean my house. So the other thing that I generally will do is I will make a list. I will literally just sit down and, like, whether you want to journal it, that's fine too. But for me, I like a bulleted list, and I want to know this is all these things we have to do. For me, I like to color code things. And I'm like, if they're red, if they're urgent, like they got to be done, I'm red, yellow, and green. Sometimes it's as simple as just make a list, because even if you put really small things on there, if you're like me, getting to check things off your list gives you a little bit of like a euphoric feel where you're like, yes, I'm making some progress, which practically will take away a little bit of the overwhelm. Is it going to magically fix the things for the day? No, but it's going to help your brain categorize where you need to go. If we don't take a minute to create healthy habits to simplify the process of, let's figure out a process before the overwhelm hits, before the bricks feel like they're on your head. Figure out, what am I going to do? What works for your learning style? Some of these things you're like, Jamie, I don't have ADHD. I have a regular brain that works regular ways. So what you're telling me isn't going to work. That's okay. Find out what works for you. And then sometimes when I make a list, I look at it and I'm like, okay, that thing really isn't, even though it feels heavy, that thing is not a big deal. Like, currently, it's the middle of February. We still have Christmas stuff in our laundry room that needs to go to the garage. Here in Michigan, it has been, again, negative freeze your face off cold. So is it appropriate for me to freak out about that stuff not being put in the garage yet? No. Is it hurting anyone there? No. Is it bothering me because it looks like clutter? Yes. But can I sleep at night? Yes, I can. I just have to reframe my brain. Okay, this is something where people are like, this either works or it doesn't. This one is a game changer for me. Game changer. Maybe you can't do this always, but for me, it works. I take a nap because for me, I have found in the last couple years, rest is incredibly productive for me. If I feel like the entire world is just on my head, this is like I'll work during the day. And then if I have to go pick up my son from school, then after that, I've got to do all the things, right? And be all things to all people and take him to gymnastics and make dinner and all the things. But I want to be on my best. I don't want to be a burnt out mom that picks up my kid at 4 o'clock where I'm just like, I'm just grumpy and I don't want to be that. Many times, about a half an hour to an hour before I go pick up my son, I will go lay down and take a nap. And again, I understand not everyone has the luxury to do that all the time. Maybe you work a regular 9 to 5. Maybe you have little itty bitty ones and they're not napping. But sometimes just a nap or rest, sometimes you need that. And a lot of people are like, Jamie, that's so counterproductive. I heard people say that my whole life and I thought, that's dumb. No one has time for a nap. That's the dumbest advice ever. But when I started taking time to rest my body and rest my mind, I don't care if it's 15 minutes. If you have a little one and they're sleeping in their car seat and you pull into your house and you need 15 minutes, girlfriend, lay that seat back and set your alarm. Take yourself a 15-minute just breather. Do that. I think I'll speak to the moms. Many times, those of us that are moms, and also I'll give it to the dads too, a lot of times we feel like we just have to keep going and keep doing and keep moving. We are allowed to rest. Obviously, we want our kids to be safe. Clearly, that goes without saying, but it is okay for you to do some self-care for yourself. It might not be 5 hours at the spa, but you most certainly can sit in your car and take 10 minutes before you go in the house and get all the things going. So napping or resting, allowing yourself to rest. Now, another part of, for some people, resting in that category could literally simply be taking a walk. We complicate things so much. Like, I got to get a gym membership. No, you don't. Go outside and walk for 15 minutes. You don't have to buy new tennis shoes. You don't have to buy a new workout outfit. If you have kids, put them in the stroller and go to town. Whatever you can do, get out and move your body. The other thing is sometimes, I don't like being outside when it's hot, and I don't like being outside when it's cold. I'm in Michigan, so I like being out in the spring and in the fall. And other times I'm like, no, I want to be inside where it's climate control. But I have learned there are, like on Instagram, I follow some workout people and some physically fit people, and they've got really simple, 5 to 10 minute, for example, wall push-ups or jumping jacks or lunges, just down your hallway, up and down. How does this relate to overwhelm? It's simply when we move our body, when you look at the science of it, if you get your body moving, you're going to feel better. Thus, mentally, you're going to feel better. Does it fix the overwhelm if you go on a 15-minute walk? The laundry is still going to be here. The balancing your checkbook, I just aged myself, right? The looking at your bank statements and figuring out how we're going to pay next month's bills is still going to be there. However, if you take care of yourself, take some time, your overwhelm might go from 90% to 50%. And that's all going to be better. It's going to reflect in your relationships. It's going to reflect how you show up as a parent, as an employee, as a spouse. Our job with ourselves is to find out what makes us tick, what helps create less overwhelm. And it's funny because my mom always says to me, because sometimes I'm a verbal processor, and so I see my mom all the time, so I'll be like blah 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 blah, and I'll tell my mom oh my gosh, my day was supposed to go like this and it went like this, and she's like, Jamie, I've been telling you your whole life, it's never going to stop. And that's not a negative statement, it is factual. Yes, do some of my days go exactly as planned? They do. But is it extremely rare? Yes. Most of the time we have a plan. Guess what? Maybe we're going to get our kid and there's an accident, or we get a flat tire, or someone calls us, and they're like, my horse is sick, we got to call a vet, or someone is colicking, or the cats or something's happening. So there's so many moving parts in our lives. We all have different ones. We have to kind of plan for overwhelm a little bit. We have to plan on how we're going to deal with it before it gets us, or else it will be so incredibly terrifying and overwhelming that the tornado is just going to knock us down and we're out for the day or the week or the month or whatever it is. I have ways that I have kind of worked into my mental, I don't even know what you want to call it, my journey, I guess, where I'm I can tell if I'm starting to heat up like a teapot, where I'm I'm going to blow. And I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to blow up on my husband. I don't want to blow up on my son, some random person at Walmart. I don't want to be that person that is on someone's reel. Like, this lady just had a total meltdown. I don't want to be that person. I'm going to say the last thing, which for me almost always is my first, is this. How do I fight overwhelm? This. I read my Bible. For me, I know that this brings me peace. I know that this brings me the most clarity ever. And I know that the words in here are like literally honey to my mind and my soul and my spirit. And knowing that the Lord's got my back, for me, is my number one fighter of overwhelm. You might be watching this and you might be like, yes, Jamie, I've gone to church my whole life. Makes sense. I'm on it. Thanks for the reminder. But the other many people are like, I either never read my Bible, even if you go to church, or I don't believe in it, or I went to church and these people were jerks to me, so I'm never going back to church again. There are so many levels of the thought process of when you bring up church and the Bible and Jesus, and how amazing it is to live knowing that there is a God that literally sent his son to die for us. And then all the other words in the Bible are inspired. And honestly, even if you're not a believer, if you look at the Bible from a purely scientific perspective and how everything in the Bible goes back and forth. Like, so the Old Testament, the New Testament, all of it, like, it's incredible when you map out the accuracy of the book, even if you're not looking at it from a spiritual perspective. But for me, my own personal journey, I read my Bible every day. There are days that I miss, of course, but it has changed my life. It has changed my response. I went to Bible school like 2000 to 2002, and someone said something one weekend, and I've never forgotten it after these 25 plus years, is my response of no response. And some people, like, you might hear that and be like, okay, that's awesome. Or you might hear it and be like, what does that even mean? Or you're like, I don't agree. I shared in another video about what is one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn. It was being silent and being quiet and not always being reactive. How can you look at overwhelm and decide ahead of time not going to be reactive? And my response of no response, that is something like, could it be tattooed on my arm? Probably, because I hear it in my head all the time. I say it to people all the time, and I try to live it out as well. I don't want to be reactive because of overwhelm. I want to have a plan ahead of time. Are there days where I still just lose it? Yes, but I'm going to tell you this, I'm not losing it generally with my kid or my husband or with another person. I'm at home losing it with myself, and I take it to the Lord and I'm like, listen, I'm having a horrible day. I don't know why this is happening. I'm mad. And here's the thing. We all have emotions. That's how the Lord made us. We have emotions and we have feelings. We just don't want to be led by those emotions and feelings. We want to have control over those emotions and feelings. So how do we do that? Sometimes it might be looking like we take a nap, we take a walk, we phone a friend, make a to-do list. It could look like multiple things, but practically speaking, you've got to have a plan before it comes because it's guaranteed to come. You know, people are like, Jamie, that's not very encouraging. And I'm like, well, it's the truth. We're all going to have overwhelm at some point. You might be watching this video and be like, oh my gosh, Jamie, yeah, this just happened to me just today. This was very timely. Thank you. Feel free to drop a comment. I will be happy to encourage you. And the way I do that too is I can encourage you, but also, like, I love praying for people and just being like, hey, Lord, give this person clarity. Give them clarity in their situation to make better decisions. When it comes to overwhelm, again, you can look at it spiritually. That's how I do. You can look at practically and be like, I just want to frankly be a better person. One of the times I personally, and most of us, are probably the most reactive is when we're driving. I literally, how does this have to do with overwhelm? It just does, because literally I could be driving and someone can do something and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like this bear comes out, right? But also I don't act on it or else I would wreck my car. And that's dumb, because then you have way more overwhelm, right? You could just go into the spiral of all the problems that's going to cause, right? Very simply put, how do you take care of yourself when there's overwhelm? I would love to hear other thoughts from people on how you deal with overwhelm. Again, for me, I read my Bible. That's something that I do almost immediately. Or I put on worship music in my car if I'm driving, right? If I can't sit and read my Bible, there's ways that I spend time with the Lord. I would love to hear how you handle overwhelm and maybe there's a really great story, feel free to share it in the comments. I would love to hear it. And if you have any other question or thought about life, relationships, business, anything, drop a comment and I'll answer in a video. I would love to do it. So I will see you all in the next video. If you loved this and it was helpful, share it with a friend and subscribe. See y'all.